Okay, it's time for today's Unfiltered Minute. For years, people told me you want too much love, too much success, too many projects, too much intensity. But one day, I realized the problem wasn't that I wanted too much. It's that the world feels safer around people who settle. Because wanting everything is disruptive. It challenges the comfort zone, the unspoken rule, the people who decided to dim themselves so they wouldn't shine too bright. We've been taught to shrink, to believe that wanting too much was ego, dangerous, selfish, and grateful. But today, we're resetting the records. What if wanting in love wasn't a flaw? What if it was a higher state of awareness? The proof that your soul came here to experience it all. Power, softness, wealth, freedom, love, fire. What if instead of apologizing for wanting too much, we started apologizing for accepting so little? Because let's be honest, owning your ambition doesn't mean crushing others. It means no longer excluding yourself from the greatness we were built to create. So today we are diving into that moment when you stop choosing between piece of your life and you say out loud, I want it all and this time I own it. Jingle. Hey, and welcome back to the Lio BodyMind channel, the podcast that upgrades your mental and physical power. Today's episode, the truth one. I want it all and here's how I own it. You know, I still remember the day I started shrinking my dreams, not because I wanted less, but because I was afraid of making people uncomfortable. I was talking about my goals, my vision, and I could feel that my words were too big for the room I was in. So I did what I'd been trained to do. I dimmed the flame, I softened my truth, I said, yes, it's not that big actually, while my soul was on fire inside. I remember that night so clearly. We were sitting around this table, everyone pretending to be realistic. I said, I want to breed something global, and the whole energy shifts. No one said, you can't, but they just went quiet. And that silence, that's when I understood I was carrying people who'd already given up. That night, I betrayed myself, not in front of others, but in front of me. Because in my need to be loved, I forgot to be aligned. And later, when I studied social psychology, I realized it wasn't just me. It's a collective conditioning. We've been taught, especially as women, to stay modest, to speak softly about our wins, to apologize for our patience. Psychology calls this adaptive self-limitation. You shrink yourself to stay accepted. You lower your amplitude so you don't cross the line of what feels comfortable to others. And it comes from our primal need for belonging. But the price of belonging is often the death of authenticity. And neurologically, that leaves marks. Your dopaminergic systems, the parts that drive you to create, expand, evolve, start to glitch. Because every time you succeed, your brain sends a double signal. This feels good, but careful, you might get judged. So you crave success, but you fear it too. You move forward, but you self-sabotage. You're in motion, but always ambivalent. That's how invisible sabotage is born. You want it all, but your brain was trained to fear the consequence of having it. It's not a lack of ambition, but it's a neurological conflict between expansion and exclusion. But you don't need protection anymore. You need liberation, because there's nothing dangerous about wanting more. What's dangerous is convincing yourself you deserve less. So let's talk about that. This idea that wanting it all makes you too much. Because in truth, wanting it all just means you've understood your soul's design. And what I've realized in this, we have been lied to about balance. They told you to choose, that you can have it all, that you need to be reasonable. But honestly, that belief is what burns people out the most. Because wanting it all isn't greed, it's human nature. In psychology, it's called the nature expansion of the self. Your identity is where to grow, to learn, to love, to create, to vibrate higher. Your brain feeds on novelty and challenge. That sweet mix of dopamine and curiosity. That's what wakes you up, drives your project, fuels your evolution, not out of need, but out of instinct to grow. So no, wanting more isn't greed, it's your brain whispering, I'm ready for more experience. And when you listen, it doesn't make you restless. It makes you open. I remember a time when I wanted everything: my sport, my business, deep love, spiritual connections. And for the first time, I didn't apologizing for it. Before, I thought I had to choose body or mind, ambition or peace. But when I stopped choosing, everything aligned. Because it's not wanting it all that drains you, but it's believing you are not allowed to. Wanting it all is refusing to amputate yourself just to fit in. Your too much isn't a flaw, it's your potential pushing against the walls of your old identity. The problem is your brain still runs in binary mode. Either you succeed or you rest, either you win or you burn out. But your prefrontal cortex, your higher brain, is designed for integrations. It can hold both. You don't have to choose between having it all and being at peace, but you just need to calibrate your energy to receive it all. The wall of integration theory showed that people who strive aren't those who limit themselves to one identity, but those who embrace their many selves. The worker, the dreamer, the artist, the strategist, the woman, the lioness. Balance isn't dividing your ambition, it's inhabiting it consciously. And from that point on, you stop running to prove and start moving to create. You no longer want everything to fill a void. You want it all to express your fullness, and honestly, it's the highest form of peace there is. So how to own your I want it all? At some point, I learned this. Wanting it all isn't enough. Because if you want everything but your energy is scattered, you end up chasing of your own life. That's where energy coherence comes in. When you want it all, your energy must move with intention, not out of reaction, but out of direction. Because it's not your willpower that sustains the pace, but it's your nervous system. You can be the most disciplined person alive, but if your body is in constant alert, your mind spinning with 1,000 taps, you're not longer living your ambition, you're surviving it. So let's be honest, you keep calling it burnout. Sometimes it's the exhaustion of betraying yourself every day. In neuroscience, that's called dopamine depletion. When you chase constant reward, your brain stops feeling satisfaction. You lose joy of process and you feel only the pressure of not being there yet. The solution isn't to want less, but it's to reinsure gratitude at every micro step. Every time you acknowledge your progress, you send your brain a safety signal. We are safe. We are moving. That single signal restores dopamine stability, and suddenly you can enjoy your growth again. You can want it all, but you can chase it all unconsciously. So owning your I want it all doesn't mean running after everything that shines. It means saying, I choose it all, but I also choose to stay whole. The real inner reset is to stop asking if you deserve what you desire, because that question already assumes you need permission to want. What if instead you just started to receive? Every time you allow yourself to receive, your brain rewires safety around abundance. Your prefrontal cortex replaces stress with clarity. Your system relaxes. It opens to more freedom, more love, more success, more of everything. Because in the end, owning your I want it all isn't about worthiness, but it's about permission. And that's permission no one's going to hand it to you. You have to sign it yourself, and honestly, you can sign it right now. Here's the truth. There are only two kinds of women. The ones still asking for permission to want everything, and the ones who secretly decided they are done asking. At some point, you pick a side. Because wanting it all isn't excess, it's a declaration. I'm here to live fully, to explore every version of myself, to feel without filter, to create without permission, to love without restriction. And if this episode resonates to you, share it with a woman who's still holding herself back. And tell me in comments what's your I want it all that you're finally ready to own. Take care of your energy, queen, and I see you soon for the next episode. Ciao, ciao.